The Blackhawks lose 4-0 in Vegas. We are contractually obligated to talk about it, so we're going to on the CHGO Blackhawks Postgame Show. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi. Stephen Nicholas is here running the show tonight because he just missed us so damn much. He wanted to come in on his Saturday night and hang out with us.
Boys are back in town.
Hell yeah. It's like old times. Old times. The Hawks got their asses kicked 4-0.
Yeah.
There's very little good to talk about. It is like the old days.
Are we still
Steven.
tanking for Bedard? Or did that happen now?
We'll do a tank. We'll do tank spins. The whole
Don't
nine.
overpromise, Jay.
No, we will not do that. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you hit the like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. And if you're listening on the podcast later, thank you. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, all that great stuff. Yeah, 4-0 loss in Vegas. It was 3-0 after the first period. And look, the first period did them in. They came out completely flat. Darren Pang called it an unacceptable start to the game, which was accurate. They left their feet at the golf course or in the casino or whatever. They were not ready to play. And when you're up against a team like Vegas, who is not necessarily the juggernaut we're used to, but they're too good. They're too deep. Team. They're just going to kick your ass, and that's how it went.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward on the broadcast when they're praising the team for their performance and earning themselves a day off in Vegas, and they go out on the golf course, and then they have the first period that they have. It's just like, man, maybe that was a bad idea to do that.
No, that's a lesson learned, right? It's okay. You did earn a day off. They had points in 5 of their last 6 games. And 4 of those games with points were against playoff teams. They deserve some credit for that.
Yeah, I'm not taking away from that fact.
Point being, though, now it's okay. You've earned that.
Now you're back at work.
Now you're going to take that day, and how are you going to respond when that day's over?
Yeah.
How are you going to get back into the mode you had against Utah and Dallas and Utah to and get back to that form?
And the Mammoth.
And this is a failed test. So I think it's one of those things where Jeff Blashill can use this as this is another example, youngest team in hockey, that you have to be ready every night. And if you're not ready every night, you're going to lose. That's it. After the first period, Vegas still had the edge in play, but it wasn't so out of whack. It wasn't so tilted.
Yeah.
They fought back into it. And I will give the Hawks some credit for not giving up and standing up for their teammates. We saw the other night, Austin Matthews taken out for the season by Radko Gudas, and the Maple Leafs were like,
very clearly dirty hit.
Look at that. Oh, boy, that's brutal. Anyway, we're going to go change lines now.
Yeah, right.
At least there was a response.
Yeah.
And you like to see that at least. But, man, it's one of those nights.
That's probably the thing I'm taking away the most from this game is that the storyline that we've kind of talked about a little bit, and we've seen kind of come up in some other games since the trade deadline has been, you lose Foligno, you lose Murphy, you lose Dickinson, and you lose Colton Dock. That's basically all of your fighters and all of your grit and all of your toughness that we had seen for the most part the last season, 2 seasons, however long. So where's it going to come from? And I think, surprisingly, Connor Bedard has been a guy that has started to ramp up his feistiness.
Yes, he has.
And he's doing it to maybe get himself going in a different way in a game, but it's also to get the team going in a different way because the team is responding. The team is responding to Bedard being the one that is, getting into scrums, getting in the middle of things, battling at the front and that stuff like that. Do I want that to be Connor Bedard's game? No.
Shouldn't be.
But I like that he has basically, since the trade deadline and having the being put in the alternate captain role. He's kind of taken that part of his game to more of the forefront, and it's forcing guys to step into those roles. And I think we saw, after the hit with who was it in the McNabb in the corner, you got Del Mastro jumping in, you got Bertuzzi jumping in with basically no hesitation. And the play with Korzak at the way behind the play, once the team turns around and says like, oh, Connor's fighting a guy, basically,
they're all back there.
They all head over and jump into it. So like, that is what I'm taking away from this game, is that you get beat on the scoreboard, but at some point between the first and second periods, there was an amplification to at least not get beat up, right? And I think it's you still lose 4-0. It's not fun, but the response, at least physically in the game, for a team that has a lot of those questions kind of hanging over them. And as young guys that are, finding their way in the league and, finding out what it means to play in the NHL every night, it's a lesson that they can take away.
Yeah, and it is interesting to see this new shift in leadership with the guys out that you mentioned, right? And this is a term that I've used a lot lately, is dragging people into the fight. We talked about it ahead of the Olympics with the Tkachuk brothers and Team USA, and Connor Bedard is doing that. And when this team is not playing well, or even when this team is playing well, Bedard is the initiator of a lot of this scrappiness. And I think he's getting himself a little bit of a reputation as a little bit of a pain in the ass, a little bit of a red ass, a guy who's going to give you a slash here and there. He's going to talk his crap now and again. And he's, when you do that, there's going to be a response, and guys are going to look for you. I'm glad somebody stepped up and did it. I don't want it to be him every night.
Right.
They've got to find some, and I'll say this, like Tyler Bertuzzi is a guy who's always going in the nets, doing all the little things needed to, to get wins, that winning hockey that Jeff Blashill always talks about. He does it, but he's not an initiator of physical play in terms of finishing checks. The young defensemen, even Alex Vlasic, they're really big. They're not overly physical. Mangiapane is a guy who plays that agitator style, but he's 5'8" or whatever he is, right?
5'10". Put some respect
He's
on
not 5'10".
Mango.
I'm 5'10". I stood next to Mango. He is not 5'10". 5'10" on skates, fine, I'll give you. He's a willing combatant, but they've got to find a guy or a couple guys who will initiate that fight so Bedard doesn't have to do it all the time. I like that he's added that part to his game. Mm-hmm. I like that he's willing and he's ballsy enough to be like, F you, I'm Connor Bedard. Right. Watch this. I'm going to rub my glove in your face and I'm going to score eventually in some game. Not tonight.
In theory.
In theory, right. Like, they've got to find some guys like that. Well, Sasha Boisvert is joining this team.
I think they have guys that are going to provide that, but you can't expect rookie Boisvert and rookie Spellacy and I don't think Frondell is going to be a bruiser, but he's big and can play that like more imposing style. But I don't think you can expect it to be all these rookie kids coming in and stepping up. So I think for this group that's here now, it's important to learn how to stand up for yourself and how to be there for your teammates. And I see some people saying in the chat, like, yeah, it's good that they're, they're getting into scrums and that they're standing up for themselves, but no one's actually afraid of them. It's not necessarily about like having to have one of these players turn into an enforcer that you fear.
Those guys are not in the league anymore.
There's
not like two of them.
That's not the point of it. The point of it is kind of to what you said about, the Maple Leafs and stuff. It's about this team growing together and being there for each other. Look at the quote from Rasmus Dahlin that was making the rounds about, the Sabres and how they've come together as a group. And, he's offhandedly he's saying like, oh yeah, the way that we came together is we just have some beers with each other. But there's something to be said for a group of guys that come together and feel like a team and play as a unit, and you feel like they're all pulling in the same direction. And that's been a big point of this rebuild, is with these young players, like having them feel like when they hit the ice, either in the NHL or in Rockford or whatever, like you're doing it with guys that you already feel close to and you already feel like you're already a teammate, even though you haven't played a game yet together.
Play for each other.
That's why the off ice prospect camp change was made, so that they could have those opportunities. A lot of these guys, have played in different programs together, whether it's internationally or, at the same junior teams, same schools, whatever it is. And a number of these players have played in Rockford together and have come up, and that's a big part of it. So I like to see that the group has that. It feels like it has that early stage of like these guys are in it together. Like it's not just individuals, or it's not just Bedard and a bunch of other guys that are here for the ride. Like it seems like I get the feeling that this is a group that is together, that as more guys show up, it's going to continue to grow that, especially because they're all going to be in very similar boats in their career.
Yeah, and just the concept of like adding an enforcer it's just not a thing. It's just not. You got Matt Rempe, who can hardly play. You've got Ryan Reeves, who's 36, 37.
He's the last of
I think Matthew Olivier in Columbus is probably the closest thing to an enforcer these days that can actually play and contribute. And you've got your Trubas and Gudises and those guys and Tom Wilsons who are going to play on that line.
Would it be ideal to have a guy who can score 30 goals and beat the pants off of everybody?
That'd be great.
Of course. That'd be awesome.
But you got to find that somewhere in your system. And I think as some of these young guys get a little more comfortable, you'll see them get into that role. I think everyone would agree that Artyom Levshunov has played better since the break. I think he had a strong game tonight, and you're seeing him
had a goal taken off the board.
We're seeing him initiate physicality, where I think before he was a little hesitant to do that. So you're seeing feeling better about my defensive positioning or my puck movement or my understanding of the system. So now that I'm a little more comfortable, I'm going to add this dimension too, of now I can add some physicality to this thing because I'm confident enough that I know where I'm supposed to be, and that I can, if I'm not, I can get there. All these young guys are going to eventually have to add that element to their game. Like Brent Seabrook did not come into the NHL and start laying people out. That's just not how it typically goes. I struggle to think of any really young players right off the hop that just came in and were physical right away, aside from like I said, like a Matt Rempe, who was called up to be a goon. Come up here and punch
when
people.
You're 6'9" and
right.
You have that advantage. Yeah.
39 years old for Ryan Reeves. Thank you, Edward. 39. Yeah, I didn't want to oversell him, but yeah, he's old.
Been around for a long time. I think there are players that have that edge, and the game has evolved. 20 years ago, you'd have guys that were like, oh, this is the protector for this player. And that was, still more common even at that time, but it's changed as the game has gotten faster and more skilled. Like those guys, it's changed. But I think you have a lot of players that are going to be in the Hawks system that have that edge to their game and then can use it effectively. But they're also guys that you expect to put in there and actually play roles and not just be an intimidating physical force. And that'll be important. But that game will have to grow for all of those guys. So it's going to take time. I think, seeing it now as you've turned the page beyond the trade deadline and you've gotten extremely young and you're going to be young next year. And I think it's encouraging to see the group have moments like that. And the only reason that we're focusing on it is because they lost 4-0.
Right. There were no complaints about the physicality when they were beating up on Utah and taking Dallas overtime. Right. And I don't know. I mean, Darren says, I don't care if Darren says, I don't care if you don't win a fight, but do something. They did. There was a response every time a Hawk was hit today. There was a response.
Yeah. And
they're not the kind of team that's going to go chasing hits, but you saw Ryan Donato lay a guy out in the third period.
He had a big hit.
Yeah. They were taking what they were given in terms of hits. Let's see what the game totals were, by the way.
Nazar had
Hawks were credited with 19 hits. The Knights were credited with 20. Okay. That's what we're saying.
The game was physical,
the bigger point is you don't want it to have to be Connor Bedard that initiates it all the time.
Yeah, I don't think it will be. But I think it's more or less the point that I'm focusing on is that he's the one initiating it, and you saw that since basically he's had the letter put back on his sweater, and that's part of like this overarching conversation about his role developing and the leadership role developing and the change over to the next group of guys. That's one aspect that I think from this game you can kind of look at moving forward and how their team is going to evolve.
All right, we got to hit the break zone. Before we do, we want to tell you about our Game Day Men's Health Game Puck nominees. Better father, better husband, better man. Go to Game Day Men's Health. Visit GameDayCHGO.com to find the locations closest to you. 3 nominees tonight, giving 1 to Connor Bedard for all the reasons we mentioned and more. 1945 of ice time, 2 shots on goal, 5 shot attempts, 2 hits, and won 62% of his faceoffs. Ilya Mikheyev, we're going to give 1. He had 3 shots on goal despite taking a puck off the knee. I thought he was out for the game, but came right back out and was effective.
Directly to your leg.
Yeah, played his ass off as he always does. I'm sure he'll be icing the hell out of that thing on the flight home, but just a ballsy effort for him. And we're going to give 1 to Artyom Levshunov. Led the team in ice time tonight, 23:55 of ice time, 4 hits and 3 block shots, and he was the Blackhawk that put a puck in the net. Yes, it was disallowed because someone touched a puck with their hand 45 seconds prior. We'll get to that later. But Levshunov had a really solid game, played physical, blocking shots, delivering hits, leading in ice time. That's what you want to see from your number 2 overall pick. All right, we're going to hit the break zone. While we do, you hit the like button. We'll talk to you in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That is the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine having Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that fixes and solves problems before you even notice you have them. It's super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense, and that lets you stream the game even when the whole family is online. All of your devices working together in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from us, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi should stay reliable and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, and restrictions do apply.
Who knows what season the weather is going to be this time of year? It could be sunny, could be snowy, could be both in one day where it's 50 degrees and then 20 degrees. Make sure your home is ready for every challenge of every season with our friends at 4 Seasons. If you have heating issues, air conditioning issues, plumbing issues, sewer issues, or electric issues, or if you have all of them, call 4 Seasons and they can get you treated right. Make sure everything is going good in your home. And the good thing about 4 Seasons, they don't charge extra for nights, weekends, or holidays, which is, of course, when anything in your home seems to break. And you can call today and save $50 from your trusted local experts. 4 Seasons for all your heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric needs. Visit 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all of their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's 4seasonsheatingcooling.com.
All right, we're back on CHGO Blackhawks. Please hit that like button for us. I know you're frustrated with the loss, but it helps us out big time when you do that. We got a lot of people watching, not a lot of people liking. So take literally half a second and just click that thumbs up. We'd really appreciate that. We also appreciate Super Chats, and we have one here from Windy City Hockey. $2 says, I love the black jerseys, but man, we suck in them. Well, they've not been great all year. So I don't know if it's jersey related, but
they've won a game in the black jerseys. They did win a game in the Winter Classic jerseys.
Yeah. You get one per year in your alternates.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. They do look great, though. I still love them. They also photograph really well. When Steven was looking through the Imagen site we use, because, USA Today, sure. All all those, they pop like really, really well. They look great. And they'll look a lot better when a team's much better. And Mr. Koala says every game feels like they're getting outshot 2-1. I know you're doing some
math.
You're doing some crunching over there. Shots today were 32-21 in favor of Vegas, 12-6 in the first, 11-6 in the second, and then 9-9 in the third. So even up in the third period when the Hawks were kind of finally adopting that shooting mentality, and Vegas was a little bit, we're up 4-0. Let's just sit back a little bit and protect the front of the net and go from there.
I will say, even though it felt like it was 2-1, the shot differential there, it started the third period when we thought the Hawks finally found the back of the net.
Yeah.
I asked you right after, I'm like, was that a power play? Because it felt like that.
Yeah, it looked like it.
And then after the goal gets wiped off the board, it's got to be so deflating. Especially you look at the
100%.
scoreboard, you're still down 4-0. It's the third period, and you thought you had something.
Yeah,
No,
you
don't.
Mangiapane hits the post. The ref also interferes with Mangiapane late in the game. Not that would have mattered at that point, but still.
Ryan Green had the open
had
net.
a wide open net, and Thomas Hurdle just got a stick in there to break up the play. That was a great play by him.
Someone else hit the post too, early in the game.
Yeah, who hit the?
I forget who. Was Tavo.
Tavo hit the post.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
As far as close goals, the Blackhawks had the advantage, but actual goals they didn't.
Yeah.
17 times this season, the Blackhawks have had games where they were outshot by 10 or more.
Okay.
And this was tonight, game 66.
I don't think that's that bad, actually.
And they didn't lose all 17 of those games. So
right.
I mean,
it's
there are some nights where they're run out of the building. But I think you're gonna get that with a team that's built this way. And I'll say this: only 7 of those games have happened since January 1st. So they were happening more often earlier in the season than they have since basically the midway point of the year. So I mean, I think this team is going to have nights like that. Vegas, the Pacific Division has been weird this year. They mentioned it on the broadcast. Everyone except Vancouver has been in first place in the Pacific at some point this season.
Yeah.
So even Vegas being they're leading the division, but they're also tied with the Mammoth, who are the first wild card team. It's weird, but they're still a good team. And they're still a team that once you get to the playoffs, Vegas is going to be a team that you can play that playoff style, and it's a different style of hockey in the postseason than it is in the regular season. So you're going to get games like that. And this is a tough stretch that the Hawks are going through. You got Utah every other game basically, and then you got Colorado and Vegas, and you got Minnesota coming back home. This is a tough stretch of games, and they've won some games that they've really put in some good fights. So it's tough to see a game like this where you kind of one bad thing leads to another in the first period. You get close but not good enough, and then you just don't have it enough to get over the hump.
According to Natural Stat Trick, the Hawks are 32nd in shot differential. They have 1,607 shots for, 1935 against. That's a percentage of 45.37%. The Sharks are second worst. They have 1,828 shots for, 2,152 shots against. That is by far the most. Actually, wait. No, it's not.
Most shots against?
Yeah. Shots against, 2,152, Toronto.
Oh.
Ooh.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So they are at the bottom in differential. But, I think that's when you've got a young team especially with a defense core, that inexperience, and as Clout points out in the chat, they turn the puck over a lot. And there's also been, how much time have we spent this year begging this team to shoot?
Yeah.
Please put the puck on net. Please.
Well, that power
today,
play, what was it in the second period?
Yeah, and it's 4-0. Quit passing it around.
Yeah. The perfect play is not going to be there when you're down 4-0.
Yeah.
Take what's in front of you.
Yeah. 100%. So
well, and that's why the Levshunov goal felt good, or should have. because it wasn't like a sweet setup play, lots of puck movement, all this stuff. It's just he got an opportunity to bomb it, and he did, and it goes in. I would just love for this team, and I'm not saying like be the Dallas Stars, be the Carolina Hurricanes, where you volume shoot and all that stuff, but be a little less nitpicky with your shot selection. You don't need to set up one golden chance, because what if it doesn't go in? Then it goes back the other way, and if you've had a good opportunity on offensive zone possession and you get one shot on net to even show for it. I mean, I'd much rather have 2 or 3 attempts at it to make something happen, or at least you get the puck bouncing and you get a little bit of scrambles in your own offensive zone. You can take advantage of that rather than one golden chance that maybe gets deflected or tipped or saved.
I think this team turns the puck over a lot. They struggle to exit the zone. So I feel like when they have so much frustration in getting that done, when they finally possess the puck offensively, the feeling has to be there that it's got to be perfect, right? It's like, okay, we finally have the puck. Let's keep it for a while, right? And spread it around and try to get the other team chasing you a little bit so you get a really good opportunity. But what puts pressure on teams is shots on goal and traffic in front. There's a reason it's a cliche. There's a reason that's, fans in the stands are yelling, shoot, shoot, shoot constantly. And the oldest cliche in the book for playoff hockey is score dirty goals, go to the hard areas. That's where you get success. Like, it's because it's true.
Well, look at Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yes, it's true. That is where you get success. So I think once this team, when the game itself slows down for these guys, right? When these young defensemen finally get used to, and I'm not talking about speed in terms of like how fast I can skate, speed in terms of processing what's happening in front of them, right? Like, okay, slow. Like because Steven's here, I'll talk about the Bears. Like the difference from Caleb Williams the first year to the second year, or even like week 1 this year to the end, where the speed, like the mechanics in his brain started syncing up with his talent. Now you've got 6 young defensemen doing that, and 6 or 7 young forwards with more to come, also getting used to playing with each other and being D partners and all those sort of things. When it all clicks and it all comes together, those zone exits will be much more smooth, and everyone will be playing knowing where their partners are going to be. And Darren Pang pointed this out during the game, that during the Olympic break, Jeff Blashill kind of tweaked the defensive system a little bit. It's not exactly the same as it was the first half of the year.
Yeah.
And they said they're in the evaluation period of, is this a defensive system we want to keep or not? So they're readjusting again to something new that he thinks fits their current defensive group better, without Connor Murphy, without Jason Dickinson, without Nick Foligno, right? So now he says, okay, different personnel, going to play a little bit of a different style here. Most of it has worked. Again, points in 5 of their last 6 against playoff teams. They've been playing well. This game was a wet fart. And I think all you can do, as you do with most wet farts, is you either throw away the underwear or flush it, depending on the situation.
I guess that's true.
Well, you got to do that too. That's a given.
Yeah. I mean, you got to check.
Or you get a bidet like me.
Oh, fancy. Put your pinky up when you're using your bidet.
I do. I always do. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I just think, you look at a game like this and yeah, I mean, it's a test of that new system where, the way that they're collapsing the wings to allow them to have to kind of be a little bit more supportive, and that can help in the transition to get the puck up to them quicker. Yeah, I mean, it's a good test, and you got guys that can play with speed. It's just making sure that you play with speed and you make the simple plays and you make crisp passes. And like if you're we talked about, even though they won the game the other night, that Burakovsky turnover that led to the goal. It's just like you got to be able to make the more simple passes and the smarter passes, because if your game like that is crisp, it's on point, you're moving the puck that way, then you can be a little bit more freewheeling.
Well, I mean,
look,
because
if you don't have the simple things going, then the more complicated, fancy things are not going to work either.
Well, we saw Oliver Moore individually make that adjustment this year where Jeff Blashill's like, we love that you're fast.
Right. Yeah.
But be fast in the context of the play and be in control of your speed. Don't just be flying corner to corner like a pinball, bouncing off everything. You've got to have some purpose to your speed. So that's all a part of this development. It's all part of it. All right, we're going to hit the break zone again. Get those votes in for your game puck. Mikheyev, Bedard, Levshunov. Want to have it nice and close so we can reveal the winner coming up here in a little bit. Hit that like button for us. Only 56. We can do better than that. I know we can. We'll talk to you in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. Whether it's on the field or in your financial life, the best teams win by delivering excellence at every level. At Old National Bank, they believe every play matters. From everyday checking to long-term planning and commercial banking, their team is there to build momentum and help you move the ball forward. It all starts with a plan tailored for you by professionals you trust. From simple tasks to bigger financial moments, you can count on Old National to coordinate your needs with steady, knowledgeable guidance that brings clarity and confidence to each step. It's a partnership designed to help you feel supported, not just today, but well into the future. So whether you're celebrating a win, rebuilding after a tough loss, or gearing up for whatever comes next, Old National has your back with tools, insights, and an expert crew that's always in your corner. I use Old National Bank. You should too. Old National Bank, member FDIC, where relationships and results matter.
Sling TV is one of the most flexible ways to watch live TV, and with the big college basketball tournament coming up, Sling TV is giving you access to the games and more control over how and where you tune in. Sling is offering flexible 1, 3, and 7-day pass options, which means instant access to live TV for the men's and women's tournaments. And Sling is celebrating the chaos that everybody loves about the tournaments, and they are making it more fun to root for the underdogs this year. If you purchase any pass from Sling and a 12 through 16 seed team makes it to the round of 16 in either the men's or women's tournament, then your next day pass with Sling is just $1. Get signed up at sling.com/underdog, and if any underdog wins, then you win too. Learn more at sling.com/underdog. No purchase required. And to learn more and see the full rules, again, go to sling.com/underdog.
Welcome back to CHGO Blackhawks. And now it is time for Taking the Temp, presented by our friends at Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. I want to talk about this because it's bugged me for a long time, and it came up again today.
The days?
No, I love those. And if you're judging me, it's because you're too scared to try one. Don't worry, it's not gonna impact you, except you're gonna have a nice clean butt. It's okay. It's not gonna turn you away. You don't want to go.
Don't listen to him. It's the worst.
If there's the Artyom Levshunov goal was waved off because Ryan Green batted a puck with the back of his hand and it fell, and the next player to touch it was a Hawk. So technically it's a hand pass, and it was by the book, the correct call. Okay?
Stupid.
Here's my thing, and we've talked about this a few times. On a play like that, or on a delayed offsides, there has to be like a statute of limitations on the violation. Steven was asking us, like, okay, if they entered the zone offsides, and then both teams exchanged the puck back and forth several times in the offensive zone, but it never left the zone, and they scored 5 minutes later, could it still be waved off? The answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think once the opponent touches the puck, it nullifies the review process.
If you have an opportunity to do something with a change of possession,
because it no longer impacts the goal, at all. Like the hand pass, it would have. By the way, if that was the case, it still would have stood because no Vegas Knight touched the puck. I don't believe.
Did they not? I thought they did.
Oh no, because the Hawks had a shot. Yeah, Aiden Hill made a save.
Yeah.
Yes, so that would have been it would have fallen into this.
Yeah, I think if there's something like that is missed or whatever, or there's an offsides that you go back and want to try and check out or something like that, Yeah, I would like there to be some sort of time limit, or like you're saying, like if you have a delayed penalty, arms up in the air, all that stuff, and then they touch the puck, it's blown dead.
Right.
If you would do that, if you would have had an opportunity to do that, if the play was called like a played off a high stick or hand pass or whatever, or offside, then if that passes and then a goal is scored or something like that, it should be like, no, that nullifies being able to go back and challenge it. Because I think as much as it's, you got to, get the call right or something, like if it changes, if it changed possession or opportunity to change possession would have changed the result, then I think that's you've gone beyond where that call can then make the impact of the play.
I get now that replay exists that everyone wants to use it. And we're seeing it this year in baseball where balls and strikes can be challenged. And I know you want to get the calls right because there's a lot at stake. But, like, especially the offside thing where they have to go, like, frame by frame by frame. And be like, well, if you see this, the blade of the skate was just over the blue line just enough. Mm-hmm. That's not the spirit of the play. It's just not, like, offside is a guy cherry picking, is a guy cheating into the zone. If you have a guy, if it's a split second, if it's a whisker of difference, that's not the difference between a goal being scored or not.
Right.
And I think that's where it gets frustrating for fans because it's like
speed of the game that
and
it
then
is.
And it also takes 2 minutes to review it, and you're like, that's the other thing they could do is you could put a time limit on reviews. If you can't reach a conclusion within 30 seconds, then the effect of the play was not important enough for you to make a change. That's where I'm at on it. Yeah. I like replay. I think replay should remain in sports. But man, like that hand pass had nothing to do with the goal that was scored. Nothing.
Yeah, that slight tip of the puck, does it change the course of history of the game? I don't really think it does. Again, we're a Blackhawks podcast arguing that a Blackhawks goal was taken off the board.
Sure.
But still, like, I think even overarching, like, there's just too many small details of a game where something like that could make that big of a impact on a play. Now, if there's blatant calls, then
sure,
of course.
Sure.
But usually the blatant calls are called on the ice. You don't have to worry about it. So, I mean, it is what it is. It would have been nice to at least have the Artie goal count, and you point to it and you say, there you go, that's something good. And it still was, except for Ryan Green's pinky flicking the puck the other direction. Yeah,
it just, I think the answer here, and this, I think this probably would have solved it tonight too. I didn't time the review, but it was a lengthy review of was that puck touched with the hand or not. If you can't look at it and be like, oh yeah, there it is, that definitely impacted the play. Then no, move on. That, I don't know. It's never going to happen. It's never going to change. But it's the old man in me wanting a little bit of like human element. I enjoy the human element. I like being pissed at a ref after a game.
Well, being pissed at the one that got in the way of Andrew Mangiapane.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Fair enough. All right, that was Taking a Temp, presented by Four Seasons.
Was that Wes McCauley in his 1500th game?
Yeah, you think with 6,000 combined games between the referees, they get out of the freaking way of the guy in the breakaway. Anyway, visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Seeing some quotes rolling. We've not received the Jeff Blashill postgame yet. Don't know if we will by the end of the show, but here's a quote via Ben Pope. Blashill says, I know Vegas has been kind of grinding out a little bit here, but they played a really, really good game. They were on top of it, and I didn't think we were quite on top of our game. Execution certainly wasn't there. So then you don't have the puck enough, and you have to defend, and they're a good hockey team, and then you lose the special teams battle. All those things add up. And by the way, a note by Rick Ball, tonight was the first time the Hawks gave up 2 power play goals against in 3 months.
That's a long time.
Still the top power play in the NHL, 4th best road power or penalty kill rather in the NHL. The PK's been getting it done. And I'll say this too, like, aside from the Rasmus Anderson goal, A lot of the Dorofeyev scores his 700th power play goal of the year and 701st.
Yeah.
Power play goals are going to happen. The Anderson one was a blown assignment by Grzelcyk, who just lost him and had to turn around. I was like, oh boy, he's wide open, skating to net with the puck.
Yeah.
And then the Kolesar one was a redirection in front.
Tip right in front. You could argue, try and win the battle in front of the net, but Keegan Kolesar is a big dude.
It's a big boy.
That's a tough guy to win a battle against. And yeah, I think it was the second Dorofeyev power play goal. Knight makes the save, but he's not able to keep the handle of it.
Right.
And it just trickles out right to Dorofeyev, and he just taps it in. Well, he slammed it in, but
were you sick to show someone brought him up as a target for the Hawks?
I think that was a Greg point.
I believe he's an RFA.
Isn't he almost 30? How is he an RFA? Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, I don't think he's 30. He's younger than that. He is 25.
Okay.
And yes, he's a arbitration eligible RFA.
Interesting.
He makes 1.835 this year. So
the RFA of
hey, look
at that. That's what you stay up late for,
baby.
Yeah.
But as you're trying to identify a need, a power play specialist, guy can play both sides, both wings.
He definitely can score.
If that's someone that Vegas has trouble re-signing, I mean, he's put back-to-back 30 goal seasons up.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a luxury they feel like they can't afford, and if they feel he's a power play merchant, maybe they'd be willing to move on from him at the right price. It doesn't always have to be that top headliner guy. He has 32 this year. He had 35 last year. 18 on the power play this year. Second only to Wyatt Johnston, who has 22 power play goals.
Yeah, I mean, that's
take a stab at him.
That's interesting.
Trade with Vegas before. See if they want a late first round pick or something, or who knows? Not that they have one of those anymore.
I think having an established guy who is a goal scorer. I don't want to necessarily call him one dimensional, but it's what he does the best out of his game. Yeah, I mean that can be useful. That can be helpful, and especially when a team is going to turn the page and be young. And Tyler Bertuzzi is a goal scorer, but he's a goal scorer in a different way than Dorofeyev is. So you look around some of the other veterans, like Donato's had a 30-goal season, but we're seeing that that's not likely going to be replicated unless he's playing with Connor Bedard, and he's not.
Right.
Tavo's not a big goal scorer, and Burakovsky is not a big goal scorer. Doesn't seem at this stage of his career anymore. So, if you can't hang on all the young guys trying to be all the goal scorers, we know Connor Bedard does need help. I don't think it's a terrible idea to try and see if that's an option to get a guy that can be a goal scorer.
And now, it might not cost you what I mean. He's not Jason Robertson. He's not Matthew Nyes, obviously. But
right.
If you can get a guy who's going to score you 30 goals, half of them on the power play
for a fraction of
the price,
yeah, sure. I'm okay with that. I think Cal Davidson's probably pretty cognizant of that as well. It would be interesting, and it's not again. He's much younger than I thought he was, so it's not like you're bringing in a guy who's like, oh, he's just here for a year or two or whatever, and he's just kind of holding a spot warm for somebody. Like he could be someone that at starting next season he'll be 26. Like he could be someone for the next 4 or 5 years that is all part of it and still like in the prime of his career. I don't know. Or Vegas just finds out how to keep him.
Yeah,
because they always find ways. They always find ways to find money.
Yes, they do. We are going to hit the break zone. There is a 1% difference between Connor Bedard and Artyom Levshunov for game puck. So get that vote in. We're going to reveal the winner on the other side of this break, and we're going to get into some talk about some of the prospects that are on their way. Sasha Boisvert's season ended today. The regular season ended today for Anton Frondell. Some other Hawks prospects were turning heads in their various tournaments as well. So we're going to get into future Hawks after we reveal the game puck winner next on CHGO Blackhawks. You know that moment, the one where you realize you left your favorite sunglasses at the beach or on the roof of your car or in the bathroom at the gas station 3 states away. Well, I've been there too. And now I found Shady Rays. We all did because they're great. And it changed the game for all of us. These sunglasses are made for real life. They look great. They're polarized. They're durable. And they're not insanely expensive. And the best part is if you lose them or break them, even on the first day, Shady Rays is going to send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip. Just replacement Shady Rays. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses without fear on hikes, at concerts, on the boat, wherever you might need them. You can wear them without fear. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. So go to shadyrays.com. Use our code CHGOSR for 40% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses at shadyrays.com. Code CHGOSR.
The shot clock is ticking, and it's your chance to shop buzzer beater deals all month long at Ray Chevrolet during their car clearance madness event. Stop in today and drive home with 0% financing for 72 months on new Chevrolet models, or you can always check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of the Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the right vehicle for you. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know you'll get a great deal. And Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you pay. Go see for yourself. Visit our partner at their convenient location right on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss your shot to shop the car clearance madness event going on all month long for 0% financing for 72 months on new Chevrolet models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. Percentages.
All right, we're back on CHGO Blackhawks. We have a tie for the game puck. So we're going to let our special guest referee, Stephen Nicholas, name the winner. He's got to pick between Connor Bedard and Artyom Levshunov for our game day men's health game puck. Do you want me to recap the numbers?
You know, there's no need because the tie has been broken.
Ooh.
And the winner is Artyom Levshunov.
All right.
49% of the vote, so Connor Bedard's 46.
All right. Nice job, Artie.
Oh, we had a lot of Mikheyev voters jump in at the end. Skewed it.
Better father, better husband, better man. Go to Game Day Men's Health. Visit GameDayCHGO.com to find locations closest to you. That was our Game Day Men's Health Game Day puck winner, Artyom Levshunov.
He gets the puck that he would have gotten if they scored.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Do we have a Blash ready to go?
We're about 1 minute out.
All right, well, we're going to hear from Jeff Blashill before we get into the Sasha Boisvert, Frondel, Mustard, all that stuff that happened
Future
today.
Hall of Famer.
Hey, man, it's just funny. You know, we go through. We're at home. The college games are going on, and we've all got our. You know, you and I have our hockey lists of people that cover the game, so we can just see it all in one place. And it's non-Chicago related people seemingly always talking about Chicago prospects and how good they look. Pridham and Mustard and Nestrasil and Frondel, and like it's just on and on and on. And you know, I think that's part of where the frustration comes in, where I get why Hawks fans are frustrated. It feels like this has been going on forever, and the team's not been good for a long time, but the rebuild really started 4 years ago.
Truly
started 4 years ago, but I know it feels like a lifetime. But like all the stuff coming up is going well, and look, the people are going to say like, well, not all these guys are going to pan out. Of course not. But would you rather have them not thriving at their current levels?
Right.
Like, would you feel better if they were struggling at their current level? Like that's kind of where I'm at, you know. And you talk about like Marek Van Acker and like what Nick Lardis did last year and his quick transition to pro, and like there's just a lot of good stuff going on underneath the surface. And I know it's hard to like zoom out and look at that. And I know not everybody is as plugged into it as we are, but I think that's why we try to remind people that there's a lot of help on the way. And even if half of it doesn't hit, you feel pretty good about the half that will.
Yeah. I think you look at the prospect system. It's for the last few years, it's been regarded as, you know, one of the top 5 in the NHL. And I know Scott Wheeler right now is doing his count up from 32 up to 1. of the prospect pools across the league. And again, I imagine the Blackhawks will be in that top 5, 6, 7 teams, because they've drafted a lot of high end players. That's what you get when you have a lot of first and second round picks. And as you said, like they're all guys that are, for the most part, thriving in their environments, and that's what you want to see. You want to have those guys have those types of experiences, so that they have that trust in themselves that, like, hey, I've done it at this level, now I'm stepping up, and you want to feel like guys can, like, take that next step up in competition with confidence in themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't want to see a guy who's had, you draft him and he's had struggle seasons and his head hanging his head as his junior career comes to an end, and then he's got to transition to pro and learn a whole new level of the game. Like that's a tougher situation to be in. So for the most part, like, you look at the guys that they have in the prospect system, they've done well, and they're doing well, and they're thriving. And you look at, even guys like Nathan Boehm is, like, at the top of the goal scoring list in the WHL. Jack Pridham and Vanacker, as you mentioned, 1 and 2 in goals in the OHL. Like, Vakov Nestrasil had a great freshman season. Sasha Boisvert had a down year, but he was a monster last year at North Dakota. And, now I think with him, he's going to come into a situation where he had a really bad year.
Yep.
When he was healthy, wasn't great. Also dealt with an injury. And then, off-ice stuff, I think for him, this is an opportunity to, okay, let's start fresh, right? Let's start with a clean slate of being a pro hockey player.
Yeah.
And taking some lessons that you might have learned just about the game of hockey over the last 2 years and your life as a hockey player, and taking that into pro, where the stakes are even higher than they were in college. And you can go into that with a fresh mindset. Maybe you get a couple of games here in Chicago to end the season. Then you go into the summer and okay, I got training camp. I'm a rookie. I got a whole new life as a NHL player or pro hockey player rather. Let's move forward from here and leave North Dakota, BU, all that. Leave that behind.
Yeah.
And let's start fresh.
I mean, he leaves North Dakota because the head coach leaves and goes to BU, and it just does not, for whatever reason, the marriage between Boisvert and BU just did not pan out. Injuries are part of it. And BU is a team that you expect every year to be right there.
Yeah.
And Jay Pandolfo said today after the loss, like, I need to do a better job of, like, enforcing the message all the time. I think I kind of dropped that ball this year.
Yeah.
So I'm not excusing Sasha Boisvert. He had an ass year.
Bad.
But last year he was a top 5 player in college hockey, and that's not me saying that. Those are the people that are paid exclusively to cover prospects saying, hey, one of the best players in college hockey, the top name to enter the transfer portal. No one could really have foreseen Sasha Boisvert having this kind of year at BU.
Right.
I think everyone is kind of happy to say BU is probably happy. Sasha Boisvert is probably happy to just begin the process. I will say this. I believe that Boisvert will probably be an Ice Hawk all year next year. I think he needs way more time developing his game before he's full-time NHL. But he is going to get the look in the NHL this year because start the contract. Why not give him a sniff? Let him get some NHL practices under his belt. And who knows? Maybe he comes in here and feels like a new man and looks like you expected him to look. But I wouldn't count on that right now. But Frondell, I think we can count on when he arrives here being kind of plug and play and maybe not spending any time in Rockford. I mean,
what was it you said today?
Yeah, Frank Saravalli said in the pregame show that he was talking to some scouts and they said that he is the best player that is not playing in the NHL. Like the best already drafted player that is not playing in the NHL.
It's high praise.
So
a friend of the program, Craig Button, did his list of top 50 NHL affiliated prospects, and Frondell was in the top 3. Kanserov was on that list. I mean, they have a lot of there's a lot of praise and there's a lot of hype behind Frondell, and I believe a lot of it. He scored his 20th goal today and became the 4th 18-year-old in the Swedish top league history to reach 20 goals, including Marcus Naslund and Daniel Sedin.
Thomas Sandstrom was the other one, right?
Sandstrom, yeah, like decent company
yes.
to be in. So, yeah, I mean, and having played 2 seasons already in pro hockey in Sweden as a 17 and 18-year-old, I think that will kind of jumpstart that transition to playing in, the NHL, I'll say.
A couple more super chats I want to get to real quick. Chi-Town Tominator says, no need for Dorofeyev. Lourdes is that guy. He's not yet.
He could be.
He could be a 30-goal scorer someday, but he is not yet. And Daniel correctly points out that Tuomo Ruutu once had the distinction of being the best player not in the NHL. And you wonder what his career would have been had he not had so many injuries to start and some freak ones. Tuomo Ruutu had his calf cut open by the back of the net. Like it popped up and came down and like sliced his, and he had a million of those like freakish injuries. So he never really had the career that everyone thought he was going to, but he still had a very long NHL career.
Yeah.
And successful NHL career.
Went to Carolina for a number of years.
735 games for Tuomo Ruutu. 346 points.
735
and a Stanley Cup champion.
More than me.
As a Florida Panthers assistant coach.
As a coach, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. And Kanserov, who should be here to start next year.
If all accounts and everything is according to plan, yeah, that's when he should be here. I mean, he's going to go deep into the KHL playoffs, so I really don't think any situation is going to come up where buying out his contract is going to be something that gets done before April 15th. But yeah, I mean, he's another guy that I think it's 5 seasons in the KHL now it's been for him. Like,
I think so.
It's a lot of professional hockey to have already played and before going over to the NHL. It's pretty similar to kind of how Artemi Panarin was. I think
this is his 4th KHL season.
Okay,
really 3rd full.
Okay, so a little bit more than
because he had 22-23 played 1 game with Magnitogorsk, and then the 3 years prior to that he was in the MHL.
Right.
So from 2022 to now,
3 full KHL seasons.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Well, I mean, he's been a KHL champion in that time, and he's leading the league in goals. Like, he's pretty accomplished for having that time there. And yeah, I mean, he's going to be more of a developed guy that's stepping into pro hockey, as a rookie into the NHL rather.
Yeah, he'll be 22 when camp opens.
Yeah.
So he'll have just turned 22. September 20th is his birthday.
Right.
So there's a lot of good on the way. All right, before we go, let's hear from Jeff Blashill, who had some thoughts on the loss to Vegas.
Effort, but just not a lot of execution.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it a little bit. I give Butch and their staff and their team lots of credit. I thought they played a really good game. I know they've kind of, ground out, kind of been grinding out a little bit here, but they played a really, really good game. They were on top of it, and I didn't think we were quite on top of our game. Execution certainly wasn't there, so then you don't have the puck enough, and then you got to defend, and they're a good hockey team. So I thought, and then you lose a special teams battle. All those things kind of add up. It's a hard way to win on the road. So we'll regroup and get back after Tuesday.
A lot of games, a lot of travel in a short amount of time here. I know everyone's dealing with it, but do you think they're feeling that a bit?
I think you go through games where you feel it, and there's games then where you have better. It's just the energy levels are gonna kind of ebb and flow a little bit, and sometimes you're just a little bit step slow, and so it's it's part of what we've talked about. It's part of the growth, and we obviously don't want to get down 3-0. I thought we had some chances to score, we didn't score, and so it's always hard when you can't put those on the board because it just gets your energy levels back up, so it's part of the grind that we're going to have to deal with here.
You guys have been feisty all year, but it seems like lately, really scrappy out there. Is that just kind of becoming this team's identity a little bit?
Well, I think so. I think it's just something we've talked a lot about, and making sure that we're looking after each other, and and if you're going to be a team that wins. you got to be a team that's willing to sacrifice for each other. And there's a lot of different ways to sacrifice, but you certainly got to be a team that's willing to sacrifice for each other, and that's part of the identity that we're building.
Seeing that when you're down 4-0, is that encouraging as a coach that they're still doing that?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't quit, and you want to make sure you still have a ton of fight in your guys, and regardless of the score. And I thought we continued to show a fight in the game.
You had talked about Levshunov working on his shot, and I said that goal didn't count, but do you feel like his shot has improved?
I do think his shot's improved. I think it's something that can continue to improve. I think he's got a lot of hours in the summer to really make it elite, but I definitely have seen signs of it improving, and part of it's just the mentality to shoot it as hard as you can, which you did on that one.
Renzel broke up a breakaway. He stopped a 3-on-1. Have you liked what you've seen of him since he's been back?
Yeah, no, he's done a good job. He's been, I think he went down, got his swagger and confidence back. I think that's probably one of the biggest pieces of it, and with that, he's kind of carried that forward through the majority of these games here.
All right, it's Jeff Blashill, courtesy of the Hawks. We are in overtime for temporarily because Steven was so slow to hit the play button. $5 super.
All right.
I better not talk to you. People will accuse me of flirting with you. Joey, $5 says, $5 to apologize for my behavior with the trolls. I couldn't help it. Thank you, Joey. You get your pee-pee slapped. $5. Thank you very much. One last note on Sasha Boisvert, by the way. Frank Saravelli also pointing out that when he signs with the Hawks, he will have to go through the visa process because he's on a student visa. He will have to get a work visa. So Tuesday, even if he signs tomorrow, Tuesday is probably a little optimistic, but they play Thursday, Friday, Sunday. So I'd mark one of those three as Sasha Boisvert's debut.
Yeah. This is a question that I don't think any of us can answer. If he was getting NIL money at BU, which I don't know if he is or not, would he be on a work visa or a student visa?
Good question. How does NIL impact?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, how does it work? Yeah, because I just don't know if he's taking it. I don't know if he has any deals like that, but I would think if you're getting money for something in another country, it's a work visa.
International students on F1 visas are ineligible to receive NIL compensation under current U.S. immigration laws. That is according to...
Well, how is Gavin McKenna making $1 million?
Is he paid by a Canadian company?
No, he's paid by Penn State, I think, and whatever Spit and Chicklets is under.
Interesting. I don't know.
I have no idea.
That's a good question. I know someone who would know. I'll try to get that answer by tomorrow.
Either way.
Even though we're off tomorrow.
Yeah, we're off tomorrow.
And we're off Monday.
And Monday.
I'll get that answer by Tuesday for sure.
Either way, yeah, I guess if he's going through that process, yeah, I wouldn't imagine he's playing Tuesday. Maybe he's at morning skate, but not playing. We'll see. But yeah, the team flies back tomorrow, as they said on the broadcast. I'd imagine they practice Monday and then go from there. Yep,
we'll find out. All right, thanks for being with us. If you've not hit the like button, please do it on your way out. We will talk to you Tuesday post-game on CHGO Blackhawks.
We all silly like the mayor.